For the sake of the new guys, you want to take like a little bit and just explain how even after you make a sale, there's auxiliary income potential, i.e. Credit card machine fees and that type of thing. Just a 30, just opening up.
Yeah.
Maybe you should
Is
talk
that
about that.
is it, Can you hear me okay? Because I'm just driving.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have connections with everything. You do a deal, you got to use our lender because we get a point back on the deal. After you sell a business, we should get the credit card statements right before you sell the business. Send it to our credit card guy. See if we can save the business buyer any money on the credit card fees. If we do, we're going to get a residual income from that. Insurance as well. We should look at insurance quotes. We should send it to our insurance guys. We'll get a residual income on that. Construction, we'll get a residual income on that. So we're starting to control, if people use our contacts, we can make money in all different ways. So just keep just stay in touch with me if you have any questions, because there's a lot more money than just making a sale of a business. There's a lot of different moving parts here. Is that what you wanted me to go over?
Yep. I think it's just, it's worth just as an analogy, like the business card, put it in front of everybody's face so nobody forgets about it.
Yeah, and also just a reminder, go on Facebook, go on Instagram, go on LinkedIn. I'm getting tagged in all these people that are trying to sell. Like all of a sudden, everyone just wants to sell. So stay active. To all the new people, stay active on social media. Join Facebook groups, join Instagram groups, join LinkedIn groups. Just really try to get resourceful here. America is for sale basically right now, and we're going full speed. We're ahead of the competition at this point. So just keep pushing, everybody. What could we talk about? What's a good topic to talk about from any senior guys? People going behind our back. You think that's a good topic? It's happened to me 3 times this week.
Sure.
When you do a lot of volume, a lot of people try to go behind your back. When you're doing a lot, it's just a numbers game. You do 100 deals, you're going to get 2 or 3 people that are going to try and go behind you, talk to the seller, say, listen, don't pay the broker. How do you stop that? Like I said before, the way Nick Martello did it, he got agreements signed. He got an NDA signed from the buyer. He got an exclusive agreement signed from the seller. They try to go behind our back. We found out. We sent them an email. They folded. So you need documents signed. You need paper trails. Put things in writing with people. Put things on text messages. Put things on emails. After you have a conversation, note it on an email. Note it on a text message. Get it in a paper trail. When you go to court, as you do more deals, you will go to court. It happens. So you have to have all the evidence in writing. In New York, it's a written state. You can't, an oral conversation, doesn't mean anything. You need everything on paper. So really just try to get used to putting things in writing. And I think that's an important topic to talk about.
Hey, Mike, I have something I'd like to touch on really quick, if I could.
Absolutely.
So, and this happens to me a couple times a year. If you deal with a lot of private equity, family, or institutional money, as a preface to getting involved in taking the listing, regardless if it's an open or exclusive, you always want to understand the history of the owner or owners of the business you potentially could advise on. What I mean by that is this: you have to run a conflict check, okay? Because if it's a very desirable listing, especially if it's in, a service-related space, they've been approached by everyone under the sun to either speak with them about listing their property or business or a combination of both. And who the owner or owners or ownership group of the business have spoken to previously. What does that mean? That means that we didn't organically introduce that particular equity firm or buyer. They already have an established relationship with them, emails, correspondence, text messages, whatever. So when you present an NDA, and if that particular buyer is one that, you're familiar with as well, okay, you want to try to avoid that and understand the relationship. And I spoke to an attorney yesterday about this very same situation, who's an extremely well-known, high-profile attorney in the country. He's my best friend. And the organic introduction of an equity firm, family office, or institutional, or any buyer at that matter, can come into question if there's a pre-existing relationship and how that affects our NDA, because we didn't organically make the introduction. So always, or let alone it even being admissible, our NDA, if we did not organically introduce the buyer. So you want to get a list. Okay, Mr. Seller, who have you talked to prior to me becoming involved? Okay. Do you have email chains? What's in writing? Tell me about the extent of your conversation with them. Because a lot of equity firms that have interest in HVAC, plumbing, electric, roofing, window, door manufacturing, and solar, a lot of them know each other. A lot of them are competitive, and I know a lot of them. So always do a conflict check. What's the first thing an attorney does when he takes you on as a client? If you're a business owner, he runs a conflict check, if they're any good and they're busy, to see if there's any pre-existing relationships with that client. So to give our NDA, as much weight as it can, because it's well written, always do a conflict check to see if you organically are making the introduction. Real important. Just want to touch on that.
Appreciate that, Tim. All right. If anyone doesn't have any more questions, let's jump on the phones. Let's get on social media. Let's push right now. Awesome.
Hey, Michael, I got a question. I have a question. And I'm sure that of the 50 or so people on the call, 49 probably know the answer to this. But when I list something on Facebook and Facebook Marketplace, and I get a zillion responses, and then I start seeing that this guy entered it into the group chat or whatever they call it. How do I protect myself that someone in that group chat is not NDA'd? In other words, I have an NDA from one guy and he decides to put it into a group chat. Am I screwed at that point?
Hey, Fred, it's Mark. I think I understand what you're saying. So what you're saying is you have client A who has signed an NDA with you. You've shared information with him. He is then choosing to have a public conversation in a group with others that are not NDA'd. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, so the way the agreements typically work is when somebody signs an NDA, that covers them and all their direct family, associates, and partners. If he is publicly broadcasting that in an open group that other people that he's not directly affiliated with, he's technically violating the NDA and putting you at risk because he's sharing that information publicly. Yeah. So is he posting like the actual, like your marketing kit?
I don't know. I just know that I keep getting...
Well, you have to, I would just reach out to him and say, hey, listen, just to remind you, you're under NDA. You can't share this with large groups of people that aren't directly affiliated with you. If you have, just ask him to take it down.
Okay.
And then you just have to hope that he does. I mean, there's short of hiring an attorney to force him to legally take it down, there's really not anything you can do. But if you see him post something publicly that is in direct violation of the NDA, or he's sharing information directly, then you can just let him know that if he continues, you're going to have to terminate his NDA and discontinue contact with him. That's how I would handle it. If you see them do anything that you feel is crossing a line, you can only complain about what you can see. You can't, I always assume everybody's screwing us. And if they are, then when I see it, I can call them out on it. But if I don't see it, there's not really much I can do.
Send me his email and we'll send him a cease and desist right now.
There you go. That's it. Yeah.